The sound of a violin comes from a vibration of strings, which can be different depending on how you play it. Whether you can pluck, can be struck, or can even be both. The sound of a violin might also vary depending on how the strings are. So if a string is longer, thicker, and looser, the vibration of the string will be slower than the vibration of a string that is shorter, thinner, and tighter. Just like strings are different, the orchestra has two different violins, first violin and second violin. First violin and second violin are not really different. For example, violin 1 always plays a melody, while violin 2 plays a harmony, and sometimes violin 2 plays with the viola. The orchestra has a violin and a viola, which will get you confused which one is which. Violin and viola are not the same. They are really different from each other. For example, the musical clefs are really different from each other. Violin always reads a treble clef, while viola reads an alto clef. Another thing that makes a violin or a viola different is that their bow weight is really different from each other, and also how they look, because the bow of a violin is straight 90 degrees angle and a viola's bow is also 90 degrees angle, but with a curved corner. So the viola's bow is usually the heavier bow. The frame of both instruments make the instruments be different. The viola has a bigger frame than the violin, so viola is bigger even if they are the same size. The violin design of today are much more different than the past versions. Like in 1564, the famous Charles IX was made by Andrea Amati, which is the oldest surviving violin. Thought that Andrea Amati didn't create it and it was instead created by someone else in Brazil, but was really created by Andrea Amati in Sarmona. Just like the design of the old and new version of the violin is different, there are different types of music you can play on the violin. For example, classical music is really popular, like the Violin Sonata in B flat major, Point of No Return, Concert in D major by Beethoven, and etc. Jazz is also played on the violin, which is partly made up and partly written down. The violin was first used for jazz on the 1920s, but the big violin jazz player was Joe Venuti, who was known as a jazz violin giant. Another type of music that is played on the violin is the folk music, which are some fiddles. The fiddle is popular in different types of folk music, which plays a fast tune with a strong beat for dancing. One of our famous fantastic fiddles was Eugenie Fodor, who lived from 1922 to 2004, who was a famous Roma violinist.